right, welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of Jab Journals. I'm your host, Dan Smith. I'm here with Cory Mulhern. Did I say that right? Mulhern. I'm here with Cory Mulhern, local fighter here in Detroit. Just had his pro debut a few months ago. Has 2 fights scheduled upcoming. Cory, how you doing?
I'm doing good, feeling good, ready for these next couple fights. Hopefully get him in and get him out of there. Yes.
Your first fight went as good as anyone could hope for, right? Second round knockout.
Yeah.
Where was that fight at again?
Little Rock, Arkansas.
Now, being from Detroit, how did you get hooked up with a fight in Little Rock, Arkansas?
To be honest, I was trying, for the last year, I've been trying to make my pro debut, going around calling guys out that are 1-2-0 and looking for a fight. And this promoter, I had contact because he was looking for one of his guys. I was trying to fight him, and then they turned it around to assigning me because he seen how I was. His guy didn't want to fight me, so I said that's how we got linked up with Hammer Down Promotions.
Hammer Down Promotions. Who's the promoter?
Michael Coley.
Okay, very cool. And he's seems to be keeping you pretty busy. I mean, you had your pro debut a couple months ago, and then you got 2 fights back to back. One in February here next weekend, and then one at Motor City Casino March 9th. How important is that to you early on in your career to stay busy like that?
Given my age, very important. I want to be fighting on average about 8 times a year.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I want to be, by the time I'm 30, I want to be at least 20 pro fights in and be within the top 20 in the world.
Yeah. So coming from, humble beginnings, in Metro Detroit, what drove you to boxing? What kind of motivated you to start training?
At early age, I was always getting kicked out of school, fighting, I don't know, I was always on my own, so I was just doing whatever I wanted. Someone suggested it early on that I should get into boxing because I said, this to try to help keep me out of trouble. So I was and about 2 weeks later, I got expelled and never went back to school. About a week after that, I signed up the Dynamic Boxing Club, and I said the rest is history after that. I've been there for the last 14, 15 years.
Yeah, now you had a long, amateur career, kind of taking spurts on and off here and there. What's it like being an amateur fighter in Detroit and having the city that embodies boxing like that? Is there added pressure with that?
Yes and no. I came in more as the dark horse of this sport. I wasn't the guy that everybody looked at and that dude's gonna be special. I was the one that had to earn it and fight national champions left and right. I was supposed to be the punching bag, and I just never let it happen. When I fought national champions like Isaiah Jones or guys like Derek Miller, Antonio Wade, those guys were supposed to run over me, and the rest was all up to him. I had to fight, let my hands go. I was not the naturally gifted fighter. I always had to come forward and let my hands go.
Yeah, that's one thing that's always stuck out to me about you is that how tough you are, and not being a punching bag, but you can take punches so that you can give yours. Is that a different, a lot of these guys, right? They can box and they can move, and like you said, you don't have that naturally athletic ability. Do you find it hard to compete with guys like that, knowing that you got to take more to give more?
No, because I feel it's kind of weird. I let her fight an uphill battle than a downhill battle. It makes me want it more. I earn it more. And like I said, when guys are naturally gifted and they're supposed to beat me, it takes the pressure away. I'm supposed to lose. I said, just imagine how when y'all supposed to win and y'all lose, it don't feel too good.
Yeah.
So that's it.
So you feel there's more pressure on them to beat you than there is for you to beat them.
Yeah, so that's why I've always been relaxed before fights. I said, I'm the guy that's supposed to lose. So if I come here and win, it's just a plus.
Yeah. So, before your recent pro debut, you had taken some time off, had dealt with some like out of the ring struggles. Tell me how boxing brought you back, how it helped you motivate to get you out of that dark time in your life and really focus on yourself and becoming better.
It was a hard time. I said took a few years off doing other things outside of the sport, and I don't know. It was always a question in my mind that I had left this sport was to go pro. I was like, it's the one thing I had got my pro license originally like 7-8 years ago, and I got injury that got me out of the ring. I had to get some lawsuit money, and then I fell into I started partying a lot. But as I said, one thing that through all the years was I felt like I had unfinished business in boxing, and that's what brought me back, and that's what's driving me now.
Now, when you came back from that dark time, you came back in the gym, you were up to, what, you said 250 pounds at that time, right?
About 250.
And what are you fighting at now?
175.
So that's 75 pounds. That's an amazing accomplishment in and of itself. Do you feel like that's the weight that you need to be fighting at, around that light heavyweight, super middleweight area?
My ultimate goal is about 168. I want to fight in the near future, and hopefully, I mean, this isn't a promise to say I'm going to do it, but 160 is what I said I want to end up at. But I ain't made 160 as an amateur, let alone the pro, in 10 years. But hopefully one day I could probably make 60 and take a run at the 60 belts.
So coming in, at 250, I mean, I know you fought as high as 220 when you were an amateur. Do you feel yourself getting stronger as you move down these weight classes? Do you feel like you can compete more with the strength of these guys?
Yeah, I definitely feel stronger. I say the size, my opponent's height definitely goes down. The reach starts to go down. So instead of them having a longer jab that I have to slip 4 or 5 times to get in, it goes down to like 2, and I can let my hands go quicker. And they're not as strong. I said dealing with super heavyweights and heavyweights as an amateur, I said that was a problem. I said being able to like wrestle around or get in the inside and almost getting outpowered. Like I said, doing guys like at the 75 and 68 classes, they almost weak to me.
Now, is that something you had planned for? Kind of work yourself in shape before you turn pro. Kind of have amateur fights at higher weight classes than you planned on fighting, but moving down and gaining power and getting better at your sport.
To be honest, yes and no. A lot of the times I should have been at 78. I fought at 201 when I shouldn't. Because I said I love the training. Never stopped running. Always trained in the gym. But even in the amateurs, when I was a kid, food was probably my biggest enemy. So I said I would just move up to 201 just so I didn't have to cut weight.
That's a struggle, right? Being a bigger guy and liking to eat, like you said, watching all these smaller guys, smaller weight classes move around like it's nothing, right? It's a little difficult. How have you changed that habit?
I think it's maturity, more like it's just getting older and really knowing what you want and training, like disciplining myself. Like back then I was 16, 17, not wanting to cut weight. Now like I said, I'm 27, 28 now. Like I said, it's a little it means more now, and like I have an understanding better of the discipline. Because I was like back then I was winning fights at 201 or 203. Now it's the weight class, but I was fighting at 201, and like I was winning and still stopping guys. So I was like I said, it was to me at that point it was like I had no reason to go down until at that point.
Yeah. So now we're coming up, like you said, on your second pro fight. What was the build-up like for you personally for your first pro fight? I mean, it was a long time coming. Like you said, you've been in the gym about like 12, 13 years before that, right? What was it like to finally get that hurdle out of the way, your first pro fight?
it felt good. It definitely was, like I said, something that I had been training for. I had went through a lot of a lot of stuff, and I said, as like I said, I needed that. It was what the one thing that had drove me back was that question. Like I said, I had to go pro. I said it so many years before that I was going to go pro. So I said it was the one thing I wanted to do, and for sure. And I just want to continue moving forward and hopefully get as far as I can in this game as I can.
Now, obviously, we're in Dynamic Boxing Club. This is where you started. This is where you first put on gloves, and you've been around a lot of good champions. Obviously, Jericho O'Quinn, who's been on the show. What do guys like that, seeing them train and their motivation, does that drive you to be better, to do better?
Yes, it does. I mean, the first time I walked in this gym, like I said, it was like you, Rico, Robert in the gym. Like I said, I had to respect everything y'all did. Like I said, I looked up to y'all, but my main goal was to be better than them. I said, still, as I said, I hope Rico keeps going forward. My main goal is still to be just a little bit farther. So I hope he gets as great as he can possibly get. I hope he wins every world title. I just hope to win one more.
Right. Yeah.
And that type of competitiveness in the gym is what I've always liked. As I said, every guy should be pushing each other as far as they can and then trying to beat the next guy at the same time.
How has Rico helped you personally throughout your amateur career going into your pro career? Has he been available for advice and things like that?
His advice, sparring. When neither one of us have sparring, we hop in the ring. He's helped me a lot in fights. Like I said, when I'm feeling lazy and I see him working in the gym, it pushes me a little harder. And like I said, it motivates me to get back and just start pushing myself, even on the days I feel like I don't want to. And like I said, running, seeing guys like that who take the sport very serious helps motivate me to take it serious.
Now, similar to Rico, Rico had a very highly touted amateur career, but he didn't really get the recognition out of the gate, right? So his pro career has been a little bit difficult. Obviously having such a sporadic amateur career, how difficult is it to go from amateurs to pros when you really don't have a backing behind you like that, with the money and the business side of things? Like, has it been hard to structure your career around that?
I mean, like Rico said, in this, like I said, nobody really wants to see Detroit win. I mean, in this country, in the world, it feels like we were meant to be the bad guys in this sport. Like I said, we had to take the tougher route. No matter what, like I said, we had to fight the guys that nobody wants to fight and beat those guys, and then we still won't get the credit at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's at the end of the day, I said, as long as they keep putting them in front of us and we keep beating them, they can't say nothing.
So, it's funny you mentioned, the bad guys of the sport. That's your nickname, the bad guy, Cory the bad guy Mulhern, right? Do you kind of take on that persona when you go into the ring?
I mean, yes. It's more of a lifestyle. I mean, the bad guy comes with just a lot of history and like how I grew up. And it just like, I feel like I've always been viewed as the bad guy, the guy that's not supposed to win. And that's why I say I'm in and out of the legal sense, I guess, too. Like I said, I'm not even supposed to legally go to my next fight.
We'll cut that. That's awesome.
If my PO ass, I'm in fucking Lincoln.
That's great.
But yeah, it's like I said, it's just the way I grew up, and just my mentality is. Everybody's always looked at me as the bad guy, the guy that's not supposed to win. Like I said, I'm just here to take your win away from you.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a good mentality to have. Obviously feeling like you have something to prove makes you fight harder. Before we get into your pro career, oh man, That really threw me for a loop, the PO thing. I ain't gonna lie.
Man, like I said, if my PO is Washington, fuck you.
All right, fine. So now that you've had a little taste of the pro game, what would you say the biggest difference is between the amateurs and the pros as far as gearing up for the fight and getting prepared?
Like my coach Shed said a little earlier, he said it's a little more intense training. You're working more physically now, so like we do more physical, like calisthenics and stuff, more than we did like amateurs is straight boxing, and you're trying to perfect that sport. Like for the pros, we're going a little longer, so your body's got to be a little more tuned and in shape. You go in like longer minutes, longer time, and just be ready to go 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 rounds. Your body's got to be ready for it. So we're doing stuff to like produce the best body and best shape you can get at the same time as still drilling the basics and working on boxing.
Right. Now, having Chad in your corner or training with him day in and day out, do you feel that that's a benefit to you? Do you feel that that's an extra vote of confidence, just having the same guy in the corner every time?
Like I said, with being with like Coach Chad and Coach Anthony, to me, it's people that I said I couldn't imagine a different corner, because I said I let her see the people I trust in my corner. Then I said being a like complete, like if I don't have that like bond with y'all, it's to me it'd be completely different. Like if I said even if I'm losing a round, if I lost a round bad, I can get back to the corner and see a face that I trust, and they trying them out. Like I said, it makes it easier. It makes it a little bit easier in the fight. Yeah. For me, that's.
Now we had talked about your conditioning and everything coming down weight. Now it doesn't seem like that's a problem for you. You used to struggle with that in the amateurs. It seems like you got your weight honed in. Is that something that also gives you an extra confidence, just knowing like that gas tank's a little bit fuller now? That gas tank lasts you a little bit longer.
Oh yeah, that's most definitely. Like I said, like I'm a whole different. To me, I'm a different person than when I was in the amateurs. Like a lot more driven. Just a lot. Like I said, I always worked hard, but more disciplined for sure now. The way I eat, the way I train, rest of my body, I'm more consistent. And I said, definitely, it pays off mentally. Like I said, it helps out.
Now we're a week out from your second pro fight. Obviously your first pro fight went great, second round knockout. How do you feel going into this fight? Do you feel like you're better than your previous fight?
Most definitely. Sparrings went a lot easier. I've been able to do rounds. I haven't really even. Last camp, it felt like the gas tank would run low in the later rounds. I haven't ran out of gas yet in sparring. So it feels like I'm a lot better shape now. Like I said, and hopefully, it keeps going forward on that. Like I said, as I said, we just keep pressing on it, and hopefully, that we can only go forward from that.
Now you're fighting guys that might not have a lot of amateur experience. Obviously, not a ton of pro experience. Don't have a lot of tape on them. How hard is it to gear up and get ready for a fight when you don't know much about your opponent?
Honestly, mentally, I said since probably my 10th amateur fight. After that, like I've never gotten like nervous or I've prepared. The way I've looked at it is, I said I'm gonna fight my fight, whether he's a boxer or a brawler. I just gotta be better than him every single time. So I mean, watching tape might help, but I said I always gotta come in the best me as possible. So I said whether it is he's number 1 in the world or he's number 1,000,
right?
To me, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna have to beat you. So
you have the same game plan going in each and every fight. Just be the best version of Cory, and that'll win you the fight.
Yep, as I said, every single time. That's all I can hope for or pray for, is just to be be able to fight at my best every single fight. Win, lose, or draw, be the best Cory that he can show up to.
Now, how hard is it to focus on this fight, but also get ready for the fight that's 4 weeks after it, right? I mean, to jump from one place in the world to your hometown, and then to not look ahead. Is that difficult for you to not look ahead and not think about this upcoming fight?
It's a little bit. To be honest, 'cause like you said, being at home, this next fight's gonna feel good. I got tickets, so I got tickets to sell and stuff. So it's not like I can just completely shut off this next fight that's coming up after this, because I said I'm dealing with certain promotions and I gotta do like all types of stuff for the next fight as I'm working for it at the same time going into this. It hasn't been too hard, but it's definitely a hurdle. So I mean, we'll find out when it comes if it's too much, but I don't believe so. I mean, like I said, I'm gonna come as the best me as possible for the next 2 fights, and hopefully every fight after that.
You think you're gonna have a lot of people show up for that Motor City fight on March 9th?
I hope so.
Motor City, obviously that's your next fight, March 9th. A lot of hot prospects from Detroit have fought on that fought in that venue. Tony Harrison, K9, the list goes on. Is it kind of a cool feeling to fight places where people that you look up to, or maybe you try to emulate their careers that they've fought in also?
Most definitely. I said, yeah. Like guys like Rico have fought ahead of me and been there. Tony, like you said, that guy said, it's definitely a humbling experience. At the same time, like I said, it gives me confidence to follow in the same path as they did and hopefully reach heights like they did.
Yeah. Now, obviously you're going to be, probably one of the first fights on the card. Is that extra motivation to get to be a main event type fighter, a co-main event type fighter? Is that, watching those guys come before you?
Most definitely. I said guys that I have fought in the amateurs. Like I said, I am actually on the undercard against a guy I fought in the amateurs. So it definitely motivates me. Like I said, I have seen multiple main events with guys that had fought in the amateurs. And I said, to me, it's crazy. It's like you watching TV and the guys are in the main event and you like, man, I fought this man 5 years ago in the amateurs with Hager on. So most definitely, like I said, it gives me confidence and trust in my ability.
Now, before we get into wrapping up, is there any fighters, not just locally, just fighters that you've watched that you try to resemble or emulate or take from their style? Who would be your favorite current fighters?
Currently, Canelo. I do emulate Canelo a lot, stylistically wise. I feel he's always been one of my top favorite fighters to watch. Current, like I said, Terrence Crawford's one. I like his heart, the way he's always mentally ready. As I said, not too many currently. Like I said, a lot of fighters from 10 years ago I still watch. Like Miguel Cotto, I took a lot from guys like Miguel Cotto, and I'm blanking on some names, but it's yeah.
Seems like you like that hard-headed Mexican style of fighting and kind of just go forward, but still have the defense, but pressure fighters. Getting shots to get your licks in, and things like that. Canelo more recently has become more of a boxer, type of fighter. But no, I think that does fit into your style a lot. Now moving in before we wrap up, you have a prediction for this next fight next week?
Hopefully, I said he's going in the first round. I'm hopefully getting him out in 60 seconds so we can hit the strip club.
Yeah. If you could say one thing to your opponent, which I forget, blank his name. Do you remember his name?
Andres Gillian.
If Andres Gillian was here, what would you say to him?
Fucking go down faster so we can get to the strip club faster, dog.
All right, there you have it. All right, guys, that does it for this episode of Jab Journals. We'll see you on the next one.